Okay, now it's recorded. Okay. In theory, in reality, companies have more than one product that they offer. Okay, so marketers need to think about product mix pricing strategy. Okay, now there are several options in terms of product mix pricing strategy. Guys, can you please pick up one of these concepts, because one of these concepts should be applicable to any case that you have. Okay, product line pricing, for instance, that means setting the prices across an entire product line. If you look at hotel brands, for instance, the Four Seasons, they have standard room, deluxe room, and suite room. So they will charge the customers different prices. Okay, so think about your pack size is the case of chocolate category. Okay. And the next one is optional product pricing. Optional product pricing actually shows the relationship between main product and the accessory product. Okay, if you look at mobile phone, for instance, the marketers need to think about how much they charge for the main product, the mobile device, and how much they charge for the accessories, such as the cable, the charger, the battery, the casing, and so on and so forth. Okay. And the next one is captive product pricing, which is also showing the relationship between the price of the main product and the accessory. Okay. Now the difference is marketers who adopt the captive product pricing would normally charge the main product quite low, because they expect the business would be a lot from their accessories, right? So they expect they make profit more from the accessories. Okay, if you think about printer, for instance, you may notice that a lot of printers have become cheaper and cheaper recently. Okay, and because the companies expect us to buy the cartridges or the toners, all right, that give them business. Okay, that give them more profitable business. Okay, now if you decide you select captive product pricing strategy, okay, make sure your customers do not have option or have limited option to buy the accessories. Otherwise, you can't make profit. Okay, PlayStation 3, when they launched PlayStation 3, for instance, they charge with lower price for the console, the main product, because they expect customers would buy the CDs and they would make profit from selling the games. Okay, and unfortunately, in some countries, right, they offer the copy games, which is illegal, but it happens anyway. All right, so they actually needed to launch PlayStation 4 badly at a time, okay, because they want to kind of start from the clean slate, basically. Okay, the next one is by product pricing, which is selling the product, pricing the product quite low. Okay, now remember, in the beginning of the conversation, we say that we can't sell the product quite low because we are losing money and we may be accused of dumping the price, which is illegal. Okay, but if we argue that we want to get rid of them, okay, then it is fine, because we're not going to sell them anymore. Okay, we sell it at cheaper price, probably below cost. We can argue that rather than losing the money, I'll just get what I can from the customers. Okay, and the next one is product bundle pricing. Okay, so they bundle a number of products and they sell it. They sell this product with one price. Okay, either multiple packs or different product that they offer, such as Telstra, for instance, offering internet, home phone, and entertainment, such as cable TV, with one price. Okay, so that's product bundle pricing. Okay, and the intention in there is actually to load the customers, to increase the share of the customer's wallet, actually, so they can expand, and at the same time they can also preempt the customers to look at the their competitors' offering. All right, so there are options in terms of product mix pricing strategies, and please, after you decide the main pricing strategy, either major pricing strategies or new product pricing strategy, and then the next thing that you need to decide is to look at one concept from the product mix pricing strategies. Okay, and the next one is about this is actually about the explanation of the product mix pricing strategies, and The next one is actually about the price adjustment strategy, and you can select one of them in here as well for you to demonstrate that you actually cover a number of issues in your pricing analysis. Okay. Right. In the beginning of our discussion on price, we said that we can adjust the price relatively easily compared with the other marketing mix variables. Right. And here we say that we can adjust the price, such as through discount and allowance pricing. Okay. We do that because the customers. We want to reward the customers because the customers are giving us a good terms and conditions, such as early payment, for instance, or a large volume, for instance. So we give them discount and allowance pricing. Okay. The next one, segmented pricing. We adjust the price to allow differences for differences in customers, products, or locations. Some businesses do the segmented pricing strategies, and they may show that kind of in quote unquote for social mission, but you need to look at it further whether they really do that because they want to subsidize the other customers. Because in some instances they may actually try to generate more revenue. Okay, so if you look at Sydney Rail or Sydney buses, for instance, they offer cheaper price for pensioners and also school children, for instance. Okay, but in the case of cinema, for instance, if they adjust the price to students' price, well, you need to look at it further whether it is for social mission or it is actually more opportunity for them to generate more profit. Okay, because the fixed costs, they have a large fixed cost in terms of renting the venue to the landlord, and regardless number of audience, regardless number of people buying the tickets, they still have to pay that fixed price, that fixed cost. Okay, so if they reduce the price for a certain segment, such as students or children, they actually can increase their revenue to help them absorbing the costs. Okay, and the next one is psychological pricing, which is basically to create the illusion. The illusion of what? The illusion of being affordable or economy, and also it can also be the illusion of being premium or quality. Okay. One of the tactics that Americans may use in this instance is to use the odd-even pricing strategy. If you go to Woolies and Coles, you may find prices at $3.99, $2.99, for instance. That is actually to communicate to customers that they are affordable. Okay, and some companies may charge price quite even, what, $4, $5, $10, and so on and so forth. That shows they're confident with their quality, basically. Okay, whether it works or not, well, you can also argue that the odd-even pricing strategy, may have been, may not work effectively as it used to be, because customers are aware. Well, I will still, spend $4, although you charge me $3.99, for instance. Okay, but again, it is the intention is to communicate the illusion. Okay, promotional pricing, we reduce the price temporarily. Okay, so this one is quite common for fast-moving consumer goods, like chocolate or snack category or biscuit category. Okay, you could also argue that promotional pricing or special price may actually erode the brand equity, because you are educating the customers to buy the product on special. Okay, well, it is an ongoing debate actually in terms of the need to generate volume, and also in short run, and the need to maintain the brand equity. Okay, the next one is geographical pricing, right, which is similar to international pricing, because this pricing strategy is driven by geographical location. Remember, the price that we set should absorb the costs, and in fact, we expect the price that we set exceeding the costs. Okay, and distribution is one of the costs that we also need to manage. Okay, if we are located in the eastern coast in Australia, most manufacturing organizations are located in the eastern coast, either Victoria or New South Wales. Let's say if we have the manufacturing facility in Victoria, for instance, we need to cover the entire Australia, including Perth, for instance, then we need to think about the cost to ship the products to Western Australia. Okay, then marketers have several options in doing so. One of the options is to adopt single pricing strategy. Okay, where everyone will pay for the same price. Okay, that means the customers who are quite close to the distribution center would subsidize the customers who are quite far. Okay, or they may zone the pricing. They may have pricing zone, right? Zone 1, Zone 2, Zone 3, for instance, right? So they have kind of region in terms of pricing strategy. Okay, and the last one is actually they may adopt the FOB, free on board. So they ship the product to the port, and they're not going to charge the customer until the port. And from the port to the customer's warehouse, then the customers will pay for it, and therefore the customers will charge the price accordingly for the customers, for the final consumers accordingly. Okay, so that's geographical pricing. The next one is dynamic pricing strategy. Okay, dynamic pricing strategy is actually, well, you could argue that it is the price is negotiable. Okay, and some retailers, if you look at that, may allow the customers, their customers, to negotiate the price. Okay, and the price will be adjusted accordingly. And sometimes, the customers may have different need of the service, and therefore they adjust it as well. Okay. International pricing, adjusting for international markets, because again, they consider the geographical locations in terms of shipment of the products that may affect to the cost. Okay, so again, please decide the main for your assessment. Please decide the main pricing strategy, either value-based or customer value-based, cost-based or competitor-based, or the other one is new product pricing strategy. If you consider of launching this, if you view this business as launching new brand or a new business, okay, so you think about the price skimming or price penetration strategy. And the next one is product mix pricing strategy. One concept from there and one concept from the price adjustment strategy. Okay, so you prepare it. Let's say if you adopt the promotional pricing, then you think about how much reduction that you prepare, and for how long, for instance. Okay, that you are going to offer that, and how frequent you are going to do that. Okay, so that's the pricing price adjustment strategies. Okay. Right, now this one here is the some explanation about the pricing strategy. Okay, I'm not going to discuss the price changes, and just a brief reminder from legislation perspective. Okay, we need to adhere to the legislation, so we can't do price fixing or predatory pricing or dumping price dumping, as we discussed before. Okay, and now just briefly from the economic perspective, I'm not going to discuss this, the theory of the economy. I just want to discuss these economic topics from the pricing perspective. Price is, as we discussed before, is affected by the demand. And this is what we mean by demand, actually. And one of the main points I'd like to discuss from demand perspective is the economists try to look at to develop a theory about the quantity demanded by the customers, right? And in doing so, they look at one variable, in this instance, price. Okay, why one variable? Because they suggest to use the principle of ceteris paribus. Okay, what is ceteris paribus? Ceteris paribus means we only look at one variable that affects the other variable, because we assume the other variables do not affect the variable that we are analyzing. Okay, so again, in creating a theory, economists or any other social scientists will need to have at least two variables. Okay, the first variable is what we call as the independent variable. Okay, this is the variable that affects the other variable. And the other variable is what we call as the dependent variable, all right? In this instance, the economist tries to analyze, to understand the demand, the quantity demanded, all right? And how price affects the quantity demanded, all right? Now, broadly speaking, all right, we have what we call as the downward sloping of demand curve, all right? Why downward sloping? Because it is also related to the law of demand, where if the price is quite high, the customers will buy very little number of quantity. In fact, it may even achieve zero. It may even be zero that the customers would purchase, right? If we drop the price, and the quantity demanded will increase. Okay, so if we at price 1, the quantity demanded may only be that much. But if you drop the price to price 2, for instance, in here, then the quantity demanded will increase, right? So that's the law of demand, okay, which is reflecting the downward sloping. All right. Now, the interesting thing about demand is actually we know that demand in here is affected by price. Okay, so if the demand is changing because of the price, this is, let's say, from price 1 to price 2, this is what we call as the movement along. Movement along, okay? So movement along is the changes of demand affected by price. Either we increase the price or we decrease the price, right? That's what we call, that's what the concept that we use, movement along, okay? Now, okay. Sorry. Okay. Yep. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Ed. But in theory, we also know that the customer, the demand. In reality, we also know that demand may also be affected by non-price factors, right? Non-price factors. Okay. Non-price factors. We assume ceteris paribus, but it is not realistic to have one variable only affecting the customer's demand, okay? So there should be some other factors affecting customer's demand, right? So if that's the case, then this is what we call as demand shift, right? Either shifting to the right, I should use different color, by the way, whether it is shifting to the right or shifting to the left, okay? Now, if you look at that, this is our original one, the red one, okay? And if it is shifting, I'll use the blue one. If it is shifting to the left, I'll use the blue one. And if it is shifting to the right, I use the green one. Okay. From the red to blue, from the red one to green, we call that as. Oops, sorry. We call that as demand shifting to the right. And actually, if you look at that, we actually increase the volume, all right? At the same price, if you look at that, at the same price, we actually sell more. Oh, sorry. At the same price, we actually sell more. Let's say at price 1, we actually have higher volume, okay? At price 2, we actually have higher volume. If it is shifting to the right, okay? If it is shifting to the left, we actually decrease the demand, okay? At the same price, price 1, for instance, we sell less volume. At price 2, we sell less volume as well. Consumers buy less volume, okay? So what are the factors driving the demand shift, right? A number of factors driving demand shift, right? They are not, again, they are non-price factors. It could be the number of population, okay? I use different, stronger color, right, to make it clear. It could be population growth, for instance, right? It could also be the lifestyle of the customers, right? Back in 1960s, 1970s, for instance, consumers are not, consumers did not concern about health, for instance, right? Now we have a lifestyle change. If you look at certain product categories, right? Consumers are aware of the, are getting more and more concerned with health, all right? So they may reduce consumption of certain products, for instance, right? Or some other factors, such as the the substitute product, the changes of the price of the substitute product, for instance, right? Or the income. Okay, if the customers, broadly speaking, have stronger income power, they may, at the same price, they may buy more volume, for instance, right? In fact, in brief, they are non-price factors affecting the demand shift, right? So in relation to your analysis, right? Remember, guys, when you analyze your past, okay, you analyze non-price factors actually, right? So they may affect the pricing strategies that that you outline for your brand, okay? Right, so that's what we call as the demand shift, and there are some reasons why demand or supply may shift. Okay, number of buyers, which is basically related to the population, the income, the price of the other goods, the product substitute, right? The expectation about the future prices or the taste or lifestyle of the customers, they may drive the demand shift. Okay. And the other thing that I'd like to briefly outline is the elasticity of the product. If the price of the product is quite elastic, that means you reduce the price, then you'll get higher volume. Okay, so in brief, price elasticity is actually reflects. Price elasticity is actually reflects the quantity change. Okay, quantity change and price change. Okay, if your quantity change and over a price change is larger than 1, that means you are elastic. You drop the price a little bit, but the volume that you generate is higher than that. All right. Well, question: do we expect our product to be price elastic or inelastic?
Well, elastic, I think, Eddie. It will respond to price changes and demand and yeah.
Inelastic, spot on, right? Inelastic, all right? Because if it is elastic, then to drive the volume growth, then we depend on price variable, all right? And that means we may reduce our profits, all right? And if our product is inelastic, all right, if we increase the price a little bit, the volume drop is not that significant, right? If you look at petrol prices, for instance, okay, you compare that to chocolate bar or juice, for instance, right? If you drop the price of juice, then you expect the volume will increase larger than if you drop the price of or if you increase the price of petrol, okay? Because people still need to fill up their cars with petrol, okay? And in the case of juice, if you increase the price, they may shift their consumption to a different product. Okay, if you increase your snack or chocolate or biscuit brand, they may shift their consumption to different product category. Okay, now how do we get our product to be inelastic? If we go back to the innovation again, the innovation topic that we just discussed again, well, the keyword in here is substitution or options. If customers have options, right, the more options that the customers have, the more elastic our price will be. Okay, in other words, options in here are basically about competition, either direct or indirect competition. Okay, so if you look at petrol, for instance, what is competitor of petrol? Well, not that lot, not that many. Okay, we have solar, still on development. We have electrical car, which is still on development in Australia. Okay, so basically it's petrol that we fill up. So during the long weekend, for instance, where petrol prices are increased, we still fill up if our car is running out of gas. Okay, but in the case of juice, well, that juice is increasing. Well, let me buy the other one. Okay, so guys, how can we make sure that we can manage the options or competition? Well, that goes back to innovation. Okay, you got to ensure your innovation strategy actually is quite unique, right? So customers have little option, all right? Although they may have options out there, different brand, but your features are quite unique, so they depend on you. Right, so that is actually the main message in terms from economic concepts in relations to marketing. Okay. Yes.
Hey Eddie, I can understand that that would play a big part in several industries, and they can offer quite a unique selling proposition or a competitive advantage.
Yep.
But in the chocolate industry, do you feel that there's a lower chance to actually do that? Do consumers really differentiate that much between one premium chocolate brand to another?
That's actually an interesting question, Lee. If you look at our variables of differentiation topic, before the Christmas break, we have 5 variables of differentiation: product differentiation, service differentiation, channel differentiation, people differentiation, and image differentiation. So you can differentiate your brand through image as well. Okay, so if you compare chocolate brands, for instance, you can use those variables to differentiate yourself. Well, some people argue you can also use price as your differentiation, but again, the argument is if we differentiate our offering, the intention is to allow us to charge higher price. Okay. So so there are the options for you to to create differentiation. If you look at chocolate industry, for instance, Ferrero Rocher offers different offering, with the nut sprinkles, for instance, and it is in ball shape, for instance. That's quite unique, actually. Okay, and you can also compare to the other brands. Kit Kat, for instance, if you like, they offer a wafer. They coat with the chocolate, for instance, chocolate blonde, full chocolate blonde, for instance. And Cadbury offers a different thing as well. Okay, they offer a number of varieties as well. Okay, so they still offer differentiations from product perspective. Okay, and if you decide from chocolate brand perspective, there are some brands that are quite niche, offering, offering the products only through their own store, their own outlets, where it feels quite unique. Okay, so customers can only buy the product in their outlet, basically. Okay, so that's another strategy to differentiate themselves, right? Which is actually using channel differentiation. Okay, with channel differentiation, they can service the customers, indulge the customers' chocolate shopping experience, for instance, right? If you select that pathway from differentiation perspective, then you need to ensure that you deliver superior customer experience in your store. Okay? Does it answer your question, Lee?
Yeah, that's fine. Thanks, Eddie.
Right, cool. Right, so from economic perspective as well, the other thing I'd like to highlight is the market structure that affects our pricing strategy. Okay, and here, if you look at that, we can also consider there are three criteria to determine the to determine market structure. The first one is number of players. Okay, whether we have many players or not. The second one is the barriers to entry, and the third criterion is the rivals product, which is basically reflecting the degree of similarity of product offered in the market. Okay. Now there are 4 types of market structure: perfect competition, many players. The barriers to entry is unrestricted. The products are basically identical. In real life, we may find it hard to find an example for this one, but tomato or any agriculture product is quite close to perfect competition. Now, in the case of perfect competition, the options are many. For customers, it's perfect because customers have options, and these options basically offer them competitive prices. Okay. Why is that? Because the barriers to entry is unrestricted, very, very low. Okay, relatively speaking, people can come in and compete in that category. All right. Now, from the marketing perspective, is kind of living, in problem because we our profit will be diminished until we achieve break-even point. Okay, and in our attempt to improve the competition, we need to think about creating the barriers to entry. Okay, how do you do that? In relation to the rivals product, we can create the differentiation. Again, the keyword. I like your question, by the way, Lee, because that is leading to the keyword in terms of managing the competition. Right? Again, the keyword is actually how we can differentiate our offering. Right? When we differentiate our offering, actually we have attempted to increase the barriers to entry. All right. Now, the barriers to entry that we create may have little success. Therefore, the barriers to entry is still low. Okay, and we still invite many players in that industry. Okay, and it's hard for us to protect the barriers to entry, to increase the barriers to entry. As a result, we still have many competitors, right? And our offering may be slightly different, right? If you look at restaurants industry, for instance, some people offer Chinese food, the other people offer Italian food. They're slightly different, but meeting customers' hunger need, for instance, right? And in our attempt to increase the barriers to entry, we may have larger success. Therefore, we will be competing in the oligopoly competition. Okay, we increase the barriers to entry. Okay, quite high. Therefore, as a result, only a few firms that have strong resources can compete. Okay, the products may be identical or different. Okay, examples in this category could be supermarkets, banks. If you look at industries in Australia, majority of the industries in Australia are in oligopoly competition. Small businesses in Australia are normally in monopoly competition. Okay, and if you look at if you go back to chocolate brands, only a few of them in the market. If you look at car brands, only a few of them in the market. Right, the first 4 or 5 brands basically capture 80% market share, for instance. Right, and last one is monopoly, where we only have one firm in this instance, and it is blocked. If you look at that, for instance, Water Authority in Sydney, for instance, Sydney Water, they actually have the monopoly. Okay, and that actually affects how we price the customers, how we design our price adjustment strategy. Right. In the case of banks in Australia, for instance, they look at the signal from the RBI and they look at the competitor signal. Well, the RBI is slashing the price, slashing the target cash rate by 25 basis points, and they are going to look at one to another, who is going to start. All right, and after that, the other will follow. All right. So that's basically price topic, guys. Any questions about price topics?
I'm good. I understand all.
Brilliant. Right, now look, I also have got another warning. Can I set up another one? Can I end the meeting now and come back by clicking the same link? Is that okay? So we can.
Sorry, say again. I didn't hear you. Sorry.
We have around 5 minutes left to continue the meeting. Can I suggest we end the current session, but please click join me again, to discuss placement and assessment. Is that okay?
Eddie, I think I have to say goodbye and leave you. I have another commitment that I have to attempt. I need to Skype. It was really good for me. I appreciate that.
Well, I'm glad that what you learn in this subject can be beneficial for your own practice.
Oh yes, certainly, especially marketing right now. It's an absolutely right subject for me.
Okay. All right. If there's a case, then I'm going to upload on the YouTube and for you to play back. Right. And again, my apologies for Tuesday, but it is beyond my control. But now I have some backups actually. All right. Thanks a lot, guys. See you next time.
Thank you very much. Thank you. You have a beautiful day. Thank you. Bye.
All right. Bye.
See you. Bye.
Bye.